Now that you know what fossils are, what do you think fossil fuels are? Well, generally, fossil fuels are things that are formed from the remains of plants and animals that had died millions of years ago. And we call them fuels because these are what we burn to obtain electricity. Next, what are the different forms of fossil fuels? We have it over here. First we have coal, next oil, and next gas, natural gas. So we have them in solid, liquid, as well as gaseous forms. Where do they come from? If you notice, this is coal and it comes from the crust of the earth. Alright, places like mountains, you can mine coal from the earth's crust, and you can also get things like natural gas and petroleum from under the ground. Alright, from underground. Next, what problems are caused by the burning of fossil fuels? Now, if we read this article, Europe plunged into energy crisis as Russia cuts off gas supply via Ukraine, or the 1970s energy crisis where there was a shortage of petroleum and there was a huge increase in prices. Well, these two actually talks about us having a limited supply of fossil fuels. We are using them up faster than we can replace them. There's another problem here. This is the amount of smog, of haze that is generated by the smoke that is generated by the power plant, and it can cause things over here. I'm sure we experienced this, things like the haze. So, burning of fossil fuels pollute the air. Next, how can we conserve electricity? Well, there's a term that you need to know first, which is watts. Watts is the measure of electricity. Now, if you look here, if we use air conditioning, we can use 900 watts of electricity. And if we use a ceiling fan, it only makes use of 75 watts. So one way for us to conserve electricity is to use fans instead of air conditioners. Next, saving electricity at home. This is what we call the mains. We have to switch off power at the mains rather than letting our electrical appliances, leaving them on and letting them go on standby. Because if we let them go on standby, they're still using up a bit of electricity. So we have to switch electricity off at the mains. Now, if we look at these different appliances, we can see that they make use of different watts of electricity. And if we look here, these bulbs make use 10 of these bulbs make use of 600 watts, whereas 10 of these eco bulbs make use of 180 watts. Therefore, one good way to save electricity is to make use of energy efficient appliances. To determine how many watts your appliance uses, you can look at the label that is being attached to them. Another way to conserve electricity is that notice if we use a clothes dryer, we can use up to 4,500 watts of electricity. However, if we air our clothes, we make use of 0 watts of electricity. Therefore, we can dry our clothes in the open rather than using a clothes dryer. Now, what else can we do? We can make use of other ways of generating electricity. So, I want you to look at these videos that represent the different ways of generating energy and electricity and answer the following questions. How is electricity generated? What are the pros and cons in relation to setup and maintenance costs? safety, land, effects on the environment, and convenience. Can we use these methods in Singapore? Why or why not?